Good evening and welcome to this evening's Fighting Fantasy stream. Once again, we are without Luke, and we will be without Luke again tomorrow. So Ewan and I are going to do the next in our sequence of Fighting Fantasy game books. Tonight couldn't be more on brand if it tried. Frankly, this is book number 4 by Steve Jackson, and it is called Starship Traveller. You can see that. It is. It was published like all the others were in the early 80s. This one, I think, 83. And, well, we'll find out what it's like in a moment. But a quick bit of sort of housekeeping first of all. We are the Boys from the Baltic Star. We play narrative games, mostly role-playing games, but occasionally video games. That's usually Luke's responsibility, but every now and then it turns out I get to mess them up instead. And tonight you just have the joy of myself and Ewan, because Luke is hiding in an inexpensive hotel with his family, pretending that that's fun. It's hard for him to be without us, I know, but he is pretending that he's enjoying himself. So, Ewan, how are you this evening?
I'm pretty good, thanks. Pretty good. Better than Luke's premiere in, by the sounds of things. If I do say so myself. You know, other people might disagree.
Yeah, he has sent us a couple of pictures of things that looked much nicer, it has to be said. This may not be the high point of the holiday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's for sleeping, right? And that's about it.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, it's lovely to have him in chat at least, and I see Sparrow's there as well. Welcome, Sparrow. Thank you for joining us. So, just a quick trailer while we're at it. Tomorrow night, Sparrow will be joining us on the stream, and Ewan and I are playing with Sparrow a completely experimental game. I've never done an RPG quite like it before, and it's a genuinely new thing. I don't know if anyone's ever done anything quite like it before. And so I thought it would be a good idea for the very, very first time the game's ever been played to use a completely new rule set and a completely new scenario and a completely new style of everything, and do it all live. So if that works well, there will be lots of happiness, and if not, then it could go horribly wrong. So so if you're interested in that, tune in and watch. That's tomorrow night at 11 UK time. So on to tonight's adventure. Each of these Fighting Fantasy game books has a sort of similar basic structure to the rules, but they all vary it a little bit. And in this case, there is the sort of 2 standard stats of just skill and stamina. Some mess with that formula a bit. However, on this occasion, we have more than one character. Ewan is going to play our noble captain, the director of our crew. However, we have a total of, 6 other crew listed for our purposes. And if they get killed, no, it's us playing. When they get killed, they get replaced by deputies and things like that. So we're going to start by rolling up some characters. Yes, Sparrow, I agree with you. The players will probably carry it through tomorrow. It's going to be fine. So, Ewan, would you mind rolling skill and stamina for your captain? It's the same as standard for this kind of thing. Skill is 1d6 plus 6. Stamina, 2d6 plus 12.
Wonderful. I should have been warming them, but I forgot, as is tradition. My skill is a 1 plus 6, luckily is 7.
Okay.
So, right off the bat, we were into some captaincy trouble. And my stamina is a 4.
Okay.
I do feel as though plus 12, obviously.
Yep.
Last time we I rolled quite well for my character, so this feels like a good balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, how about the science officer?
Surely you don't want me to roll for another person
Well,
after that.
we've got a few to go through, so how about you roll the first few?
Fair enough. Right, let me make a bit of note while I roll my first one. The science officer got a 4 for their skill roll, plus 6 is a
Okay,
10, which
that's
seems much
healthier.
more reasonable. And their stamina is an 11 plus 12.
Ooh, brilliant.
So we've got a beefy science guy.
Now, I should point out that your captain and your security officer and security guards get to use their skills always at 100%. However, evening, Leno. Nice to have you with us. However, the others, the science officer, medical officer, engineering officer, and security just those three, science, medical, and engineering officers, in combat, they take a -3 to their skill rolls.
Which makes sense, I suppose.
And this is a Steve Jackson game, so there is going to be some combat, I imagine. Okay, so how about our medical officer?
Right, so the skill for our medical officer is a 4 plus 6, is another 10.
That's excellent.
Which is pretty good. Need a medic. And a 9 plus 12 for their stamina.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, now how about I do an engineering officer, and a security officer and a couple of security guards.
Wonderful.
So, the engineering officer gets an 11 for skill.
Do you want me to keep note of all these, or are you going to have these ones?
I'm going to note down their starting values, but it might be worth you keeping track of them as they get hurt and not, if you know what I mean.
Cool. Yeah, of course. Is that engineering?
Engineering 11 and 20 starting values.
Oh, nice.
That's not too bad. Security officer. This one could be important, which is why he gets a 9 and a 21.
Ooh.
Not bad. And then we've got two guards. The first one gets 8 and 18. I notice everyone's much better than the captain.
Yes, I mean, it sounds about right, to be fair.
It's on brand, certainly. and the final one, the second security guard, gets 11 and 19.
Ooh.
So yes, our captain has the lowest skill score and the lowest stamina score on the entire ship.
Yeah, which is obviously why they were promoted.
It
feels right.
it does feel appropriate, doesn't it? Yeah. Yes, right, okay.
Sure.
So, let's begin. There will no doubt be some kind of intro. Here we go. Oh, that's not a good sign. It begins with a bad word. Okay. Panic. From your seat at the helm of the Starship Traveller, you study the VDU anxiously. Engineering section has reported an overdrive malfunction, which has locked the warp engines at a 10% velocity gain. You're watching the velocity indicator advancing rapidly through the safe region towards overload. You hit the communicator button and call engineering for further news. It is not good. The malfunction cannot be traced, and it will take another 13 minutes for a system check to provide the full analysis. You're heading towards the Celsian Void, a known black hole. You may or may not avoid it, but your science officer has another plan. If you swing the ship through the immense gravitational pull, its gravity drag may help reduce your speed as you travel away from it. This is worth a try, but the navigational turning will have to be precise. You swing the Starship hard to starboard as you enter the Celsian's gravitational field and fasten your eyes on the velocity indicator. To your great relief, the plan seems to be working. The gain comes down from 10% to 5% to 0 to -5%. Loud cheers come from the crew, but you're still watching the velocity indicator. It's now showing -13, and then -15, and still falling. The ship is being sucked into the Celsian void. You hit the red alert button and instruct all ship's personnel to strap themselves down. The ship begins to whine and shake as it rapidly accelerates towards the black hole. There is nothing you can do to avert the impending disaster. An almighty explosion rocks the ship, and all the crew, including you, lose consciousness. Okay, turn to 256. So that is where we're in the game.
Nice. That's not what I wanted.
You and the other members of the crew are regaining your consciousness. Again you hit the communicator and call for system damage reports. All systems appear to be intact, until engineering reports that the warp drive engines are dead. You're floating in space. But your drive reactors should be operational in 20 to 30 minutes. Your navigation officer is bewildered. He cannot identify... That's his name, at least. We've got a name for him. He's called Bewildered. He cannot identify your whereabouts, and the computer reports you're in uncharted space. Your science officer has run an event analysis, and you appear to have gone through the black hole, through a dimensional warp, and you're now in what seems to be a parallel universe. After some delay, you regain warp drive. Long-range scan indicates 3 solar systems ahead, of which 2 may have intelligent life. Will you press on towards the life-bearing system ahead, turn to port towards the other life-bearing system, or turn to starboard towards the barren system? First decision, Captain.
Straight ahead.
Straight ahead.
Straight ahead.
Press on towards the life-bearing system. There we go. 86. Life-bearing system. You increase speed towards a dull blue planet and start to orbit it. Short-range scanners indicate that it is a life-bearing planet. The most heavily populated area appears to be a city in the centre of a large island. This is Geeker, isn't it? You may beam down into the centre of this city, taking any other 3 crew members from the adventure sheet with you, or you may leave orbit and continue onwards.
Well, I suppose we should head down. Let's say 3 crew members.
Yes, you can take 3 crew members with you.
Ooh. Let's take security, science officer,
Mm-hmm.
and a guard, the good guard.
The better of the guards.
The better of the 2 guards, yes.
Number 2, yes.
The first away mission. I feel as though we should go in guns blazing, obviously.
Absolutely. Okay. That's 209 we turn to.
Oh, this is good.
You materialise on the planet's surface and look around. You're in a wide street of some kind, which is completely deserted. Buildings of sorts line the street, and behind you a large building stands at the end of the road. The buildings are strange structures. There are a multitude of shapes and sizes, and all look incomplete. You may either continue down the road looking for life, approach the large building behind you, or try one of the smaller buildings.
Well, let's check out what's behind us whilst I figure out how I'm doing this.
Apparently our science officer is called Geraldo.
Yeah, that's a strong science officer name, I feel.
Yeah. Yes, this is a good name for a science officer. Okay, the large building behind. That's turn to 73. Steps lead up to the large building. An inscription on the door indicates that it's a building of some importance. You knock, but there is no reply, although you can hear excited chatter coming from within. You try the door, it opens and you step into a large entrance hallway. Several pairs of aliens of a variety of shapes and sizes cross the corridor in front of you, travelling purposefully from room to room and arguing excitedly with each other. A mysterious creature, dressed in shabby blue robes, notices you and shuffles over. Its face cannot be seen, but its eyes shine bright blue at you. It speaks, and your translator interprets. "Ah, you look interesting. Where do you think the new medicine house should go?" You explain that you're new to these parts, and you'd like to meet some person of authority. The alien laughs. "No one has authority here, my friend. We're all equal. Come, let me show you around." He offers to take you, either to the main meeting hall or on a general tour.
Let's go to the main meeting hall.
Main meeting
I'm
hall.
liking the sound of this planet, though. Everyone's equal. It sounds nice.
This is the
Sounds
planet
nice
Luke
place.
would have designed, isn't it? This is flawless.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so. I'm going to run out of space if we're going to have to map out this whole building there. I was not expecting that.
To the main meeting hall is 161.
Wonderful.
You enter the main meeting hall and sit down in a crowded debating chamber packed with aliens of all shapes and sizes. You ask your host, who is called Fioral, what is going on, and he informs you that the debate is to decide where to put a new medicine house, and that it's been going on for the equivalent of a year. As there is no central stage, you ask who's talking. "Everyone," says Fioral. "We believe in equality, and everyone has a right to speak. Apparently debating here is unlike the method used on Earth. Here everyone collects together and talks in little groups. As debaters move from one group to another, gradually new ideas spread throughout the whole of the chamber, until everyone is thinking along the same lines. At this point, decisions get implemented. You ask whether this takes a long time, and Fioral agrees that it does, but it's the fairest way, and prevents a convincing speaker swaying the audience or establishing himself as a leader. As the debate seems to be getting nowhere, you decide to leave, and Fioral offers to take you to the travel and maps room, or you can return to the ship.
Well, let's go to the travel and maps room. It sounds like we have no idea where we are. So a map would be perfect.
Excellent. So the maps room is 194.
Cool.
The travel and maps room is in a state of chaos. Books and charts lie all over the floor and the various tables in the room. A small withered alien with a large head, blue skin and long fingers is asleep in one corner, but wakes as you enter. You ask first for maps of the planet, but can learn little from them. While you wonder whether any of the star charts will be of use, the little man finds a large map and allows you to study it. Apparently you're in a solar system around the sun Magnus. Apart from this one, there is only one other life-bearing planet in the system, called Trax, orbiting Magnus a little further out. Trax was recently devastated by a war, and many of its inhabitants left to settle on this planet. The other two nearest planets, though, light years away, are Kulamata, orbiting a purple sun, and Macommon, orbiting a double star. No black holes are to be found on the chart. You thank the creature for his help and leave the building, bidding goodbye to Fioral as you leave. Outside, you beam back to the ship. Well, this was a very, very efficient mission. Well done,
yeah.
Captain.
I feel as though I didn't even need to map that out, to be honest.
Yeah.
Back to the ship. Right.
Back to the ship.
We do have a captain name. It's Captain Cork von Cotswold.
Oh, Cork von Cotswold.
Yes. Of the USS Exit Prize. Thank you very much, Mr. Leno. Much appreciated. Everybody survived. Nobody died. Not even the red shirts.
There wasn't even raised voice.
Wonderful stuff.
I don't know if it's going to be important to know the names of the things, but Trax is the nearby one that's just been devastated by war. And Kulamata and Macommon, we don't know anything about them other than their names, so there's probably not much to know there. Okay, so we return to the ship and turn to 290. Back on the bridge, you set coordinates for your next journey. Another life-bearing planet orbits the same sun a little further out, and you may visit this next, or you may head further onwards towards a purple sun some light years away. The purple one is Kulamata, I think, assuming it's the one that was identified as purple in the map.
Yes. Do you feel free to make a decision, Ben?
Oh, no.
This is normally how we do these things.
It would be terribly wrong of me, Captain.
Oh, let's go on to the purple one.
The purple one.
Which could potentially be Kulamata.
Okay. It is purple one some light years away. Turn to 44. Approaching the purple star, your scanners indicate that the second planet has an atmosphere ideal for life. You drop into orbit around the planet and scan the surface. Sorry. There are strong indications of intelligent activity. Indeed, it's likely that the planet's civilization is further advanced than your own. You may either beam down to the planet or press onwards.
Well, this one, I certainly feel as though we should beam down to the planet.
Okay. Turn to 171.
I'll make that decision quickly just after I've said to chat that they can make suggestions for what we should do. But, that seemed an obvious one.
I mean, it's the right thing to say in chat, but you don't want to run the risk they actually would.
Well, I trust them.
Yeah, I trust them more than us, to be honest.
Exactly. Is that 171, Ben?
171, yes.
Thank you very much.
You try an all-frequency broadcast several times and receive no messages in reply. Selecting one officer and a security guard from the adventure sheet, you enter the transmatter unit and beam down to the surface. So you can have the better of the guards if you like still.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. Unless anyone in chat thinks we should take the lesser of the two guards, eagles.
And
guards.
One other officer.
But if we're taking the good guard, I don't feel as though we necessarily need to take the security officer. We could. Let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. Mr. Leno, is that? I think you should take the security officer as well, so they don't feel left out.
Or was he saying you should take the lesser of the guards?
Well, yeah, potentially. Okay, let's take the lesser of the guards and the science officer.
Okay, science officer Geraldo.
Yeah. It's
You
bound to end
materialise
well.
in a deserted street. Tall buildings on one side tower over you, while on the other side of the street the buildings are small. Perhaps these are private dwellings. The architecture is alien, but no life of any kind can be seen. In the distance, ahead of you down the road, you can hear a whirring sound. Soon you can see a strange vehicle which seems to be heading towards you. It's a hover car of some kind and is moving slowly. As you decide what to do, your translator picks up a sound. Over here, quick! You look around and see a man-sized, somewhat insect-shaped creature beckoning you into one of the small buildings. Will you follow him in, or ignore him and wait for the vehicle to approach?
Wow. Let's follow them in.
It is a door.
It is in fact a door. I think we haven't necessarily followed the rules thus far, mostly because I wasn't sure which one was port and which one was starboard, so I didn't know which one was
I
left.
see, yeah.
So I just went straight ahead and solved any problems. But generally speaking, in these books, we is it the left?
We
left
generally
wall we
aim
follow
left first, and we open all doors.
Yes, unless of course there's a door, in which case we open it.
And we only fight when absolutely we have to, yeah.
Which is all the time.
Which is all the time, yeah. Because our diplomacy skills, not great.
No.
So we will follow him in and turn to 108.
Oh, this is going to be tight. Hope there's not any rooms in this building.
You run off the road and follow him into the building. Just in time, he exclaims. You don't want the PCs to find you in the street, do you? You have no idea what he's talking about. You explain that you're not from this planet. He's on his guard. You reassure him that you mean no harm. You just want information which may help you to get home. And he calms down. You're on the planet Kulamata, he informs you. The PCs you've just escaped from are the population controllers. On this planet no one dies, but as the population increases it's necessary to exterminate some of us to make room for others. The PCs have the authority to exterminate anyone they like, within certain quota limits, without reason. They would certainly have killed you had they caught you outside after curfew hours. Suddenly the door crashes open, and 3 creatures in armoured uniforms step in. I thought I saw them enter this building, their leader declares. Outside, he orders. Your host protests that you're aliens and didn't know about the curfew laws, but the PC leader points a finger, and an electric blue ray burns through his chest. You decide it would be prudent to follow the PCs outside. Turn to 140.
No. Why couldn't they have been PCs like our Traveller PCs and just bought us brunch or tried to persuade us to go on their starship with them?
Quite right. You explain that you're from another planet and therefore know nothing of their curfew laws. It is illegal to be outside after curfew, says their leader. The penalty is extermination. Enter this vehicle. Will you enter as they wish, draw your phasers and fire, or pretend to comply with their wishes and take them by surprise?
Now this definitely feels like one for chat.
I tend to agree.
Because, it's combat, but I don't really want to go and be exterminated. It feels like that would be a very quick end to
Yeah, I mean, entering the vehicle...
session.
I mean, it might be that there's an opportunity to learn something and escape later. And that's what Sparrow seems to go with.
Well, let's do it.
We'll give it a shot.
Captain Cork didn't get where he is by not listening to his betters, so he'll listen to chat.
Okay.
And cooperate.
We will enter as they wish. Turn to 317.
I'm just going to work my way up the street.
As you enter the vehicle, it rocks from side to side. Your captors climb in and start the hover engine, swinging the car around the way it came. You travel for half an hour or so and finally stop outside a large round building. Other similar cars have stopped there as well, and numerous aliens are being led into the building. You're taken inside and put into a room which is evidently a cell of some kind, along with 4 aliens. They seem resigned to the fact they're about to be exterminated as part of a population control regime. You cannot understand why they're so unemotional about their impending death. One of the uniformed officers calls for your party. You'll have to act quickly. Will you try to fight your way out, try to contact the ship, or try to arrange to see someone in authority?
Again, a toughie. I think we should try and arrange to see somebody in authority. But I am open to other options whilst I deal with a cat.
We are Karen and we want to speak to the manager.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
Pretty much.
we're going to give it a shot. We're going to try to arrange to see someone in authority. That's 121. You make your request, but the alien merely shoves you forwards. This is not possible, it replies. You are to be taken to the extermination chamber. You may try to overpower it while you're alone, or you may follow it to see what will happen to you next.
I mean,
Don't these aliens know who we are?
Well, exactly. I like the idea of cooperating story, but it feels as though a line has been drawn. Let's do as Mr. Leno says and
May try to overpower it while you're alone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's turned to 297.
Oh yes. I'm gonna completely lose track of these numbers at this point because this feels like a story-led bit and not maps.
To be fair, the in order to stay on brand, it is about time we overthrow a government, right?
Oh, very fair. Yeah.
This is our second planet, and we left the first one completely unaltered by our presence. As you follow the armoured guard through a long tunnel, you seize your opportunity and spring. The creature is extremely strong, but your numbers may give you the upper hand. For hand-to-hand combat rules, turn to 342, but remember this reference so you can return here afterwards. Okay. The guard will attack twice in a turn, so if 3 of you are attacking, you must decide to see which of you does not get attacked by rolling a die. If 2 of you are attacking, it will attack each of you, and if you're attacking on your own, it will attack you twice. I.e. you get 1 roll for attack strength, it gets 2, and if both of its rolls for attack strength are higher than yours, it does double damage. Okay. Well, I feel there's not much point in saying we've got benefit of numbers and then, but I'm going to take him on single-handed.
Yeah.
Right.
I would completely agree.
So, what on earth is under 342? Hand-to-hand combat. Simultaneous. Roll 2 dice again. I think this is just... Yes, okay. So, this is, in fact, very, very similar to the standard thing. So, we have Geraldo, who attacks at -3, which is always handy. We have the captain, who effectively attacks at -3 because his skill's so rubbish. And we have the second worst combatant as well with us, because we took the lesser of the guards.
Yes.
So, broadly speaking, the fact that the armoured guard attacks twice in each turn and has skill 11 is probably bad.
Probably, yes.
Okay. So, how about you roll for the captain and the science officer?
Yep.
I'll roll for the guard and the bad guy.
Cool. That sounds good. Are we 2d6
Yep, 2d6 plus skill.
plus skill? Yeah.
And I'm afraid the bad guy gets to attack twice.
Okay.
In the first combat round, he is going to be not attacking Geraldo, the science officer.
Okay, cool.
Which is lucky, arguably.
Yes.
So,
and do we still roll for all three of them?
Yes. Yeah, they still get their attacks.
Okay.
So that's 17 for the guard.
Captain Cork got a 13.
Okay. That's 20 for the enemy.
And our science officer got a 17. 7 plus 10. Which seems pretty good, but it's no 20.
And 14. So the guard will take one hit and lands a hit on the guard. So our weaker guard takes 2 stamina down, and the enemy takes 2 stamina down. Cool. Okay. So this time, he's not going to attack the captain this time.
The lesser guard is now Hubert Marmoset Jr. Hubert Punching Bag Marmoset Jr.
Marmoset.
That's his nickname. I like it.
Yep. Officer Marmoset. Sure. And he's just rolled a 9 plus 8 is 17 to attack.
Nice. Let's start with good old Captain Cork again, who rolled a 6 plus 7 is a 13.
13, okay.
Oh, these dice. And science officer rolls a 7 plus 10 is a 17.
Okay. And the bad guy rolls an 11, which is 22, so he easily rides the first attack. The second attack, however, he takes another hit from the guard, believe it or not. He rolled very badly that time. Okay. That could be worse. All right, so he's... right, so effectively he has knocked 2 off the science officer.
Yep.
But he's lost 2 off himself as well. So he's now down to 10. Okay. Next round. Apparently you do have the option to surrender, but only if you or one of your companions has been reduced to less than 4 stamina points. So there is a get out of instant death card if it's really going badly. Okay.
Yeah, although in this case, extermination may just be another way to go to instant death. Who
Maybe.
knows?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, there may be few options here. Okay. So,
Hey, Socks.
Hi, Socks. Thanks for joining us. This is going very badly. This time it's the science officer who is not attacked. And the bad guy rolls a 9 plus 11, 20 against Captain Cork.
Oof. Right, Cork.
And an 18 against the guard.
Cork rolls an 8 plus 7 is 15.
Okay, so Cork takes a hit.
Yep.
Down to stamina.
And the science officer rolls a 6 plus a 10 is 16 total.
Okay. And that's easily going to be enough to knock 2 off. In fact, the science officer and the guard will each record a hit. So he's down to 6. We are actually ploughing through him, believe it or not. He's only got 6 stamina left. All right.
Captain Cork is just cowering behind the other two, I think.
This time he's avoiding the guard. So he's going after Cork and the science officer.
Yep.
His attack against Cork is a 20.
Oof.
His attack against Geraldo is a 17.
Right. Let's do science officer first this time. Let's see how it goes. Ooh. That's an 11 plus 10 is a 21.
Wow. Okay, the science officer fends off and strikes. Well done.
And Cork rolls a 9 plus 7 is 16.
Not quite enough. So Cork takes a hit, the science officer delivers a hit, and the guard delivers a hit. So this armoured guard that you're dealing with is down to just 2. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to determine that. He's avoiding the guard on this occasion. His first attack roll was a 4 plus 11 is 15. So that's going to be against the captain.
Yeah.
And he's rolled a 10 plus 11 is 21 against the science officer.
Oof. Right, let's go back. Captain first. No, that's a 5 plus 7 is a 12.
Okay.
Alas.
So the captain takes a hit.
Yeah, and the science officer rolls a 9 plus 10 is a 19.
That's not enough either. However, the guard has delivered the final blow. So, yeah, the captain and the science officer each take 2 damage, but the guard has finished it off. So, it is defeated. We turn to 160, apparently, to bask in our triumph.
Hopefully.
Well, it is Steve Jackson game, you never know. You head for the centre of the complex, dodging around the corridors so as to avoid the creatures. You try your communicator several times to reach the ship, but something is jamming the signal. You pass one room in which the walls are covered with electronic equipment. Perhaps this is the transmission room, transmitting the signal which is blocking your own signal to the ship. 2 aliens sit inside, but your attempts to contact the ship on your communicator have turned them into statues. Entering the room, you play with the controls until eventually a signal comes back through your communicator from the ship. You give the order to beam up straight away. It will take several seconds to fix on your exact coordinates, and while you wait, you remove one of the alien's helmets. Inside the helmet and the creature's head is a mass of electronic circuitry. You've been captured by androids. You keep the helmet for investigation on the ship, and moments later the transmitter beam locks on to take you up. Turn to 269.
Wonderful stuff. Let's stick it up with 269 because we survived. As soon as they get back to the ship, obviously Cork tells of his heroic battle down on the planet and what a good idea it was of his to take the science officer for the room full of electronics and the androids. Obviously.
Right, so first of all, you've got a functioning medical officer, so you get to repair 2 damage to each of your injured crew.
Oh yes, I completely forgot. Wonderful stuff. Well, that's going to mess with my tally charts.
And then it also says, the electronics lab reports the helmet you brought back was indeed an advanced piece of work. With a few adjustments, they'll be able to prepare it so that when you wear it, you may increase your skill by 1 point. So there you go. You can add 1 to the captain's skill, which I think he sorely needs.
Oh, he certainly does. He's going up in the world, though. With his new shiny helmet.
Well, indeed. Yes. He'll probably spend quite a lot of time polishing that, I would imagine. So.
I'm just going to see whether Socks or Sparrow are paying attention in chat and caught that.
You're not supposed to prompt them. So.
Wow.
Yes, Sparrow's apparently explaining how he drinks petrol. I'm not entirely sure why, but, you know. So, leaving orbit, you scan space ahead of you. Oh, no, sorry, we've done that bit. Will undoubtedly be useful. Turn to 34. You approach a medium-sized blue-green planet and take up orbit position. Scanning the planet's surface reveals several clusters of intelligent life forms. You try to contact them, but nothing comes up on the radio. Will you beam down to the planet to investigate, or leave orbit and continue onwards? If you beam down, you may take 3 crew members with you.
Ooh. What do people think? Should we beam down or skip it? I'm going to give it a minute just so people have time to respond.
I mean,
it's
not technically a door, so
no, it's not. I mean, it sort of feels like it, but three crew members feels like it's going to be a toughie if things go badly.
I mean, you're right, though. They did allow you to take.
That's massively.
But he did allow you to take almost the entire crew for the completely peaceful Everybody Loves You planet, and then limited you to just 2 for the Death Planet of Hell.
Yes, that is very true. Let's go down.
Okay.
Let's go down. Let's see what happens.
We beam down to the planet to investigate. Turn to 13.
Wonderful. I'm going to just call this another planet.
You land on the planet and look around. A thunderstorm is raging around you and it's pouring with rain. You're standing on rocky ground about 100 metres from what appears to be a village of some kind. 3 aliens, presumably villagers, are shuffling around about halfway to the village, but as you appear, they're startled and turn to face you. They are strange, pudgy creatures with long necks and stumpy legs. One of the aliens turns and waddles off back to the village at what must be a running pace. The other 2 are advancing towards you with weapons drawn, these weapons being long pointed sticks. Will you wait for them to arrive, walk towards them to meet them halfway, or make a dash for the village?
Now that's a decision. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say meet them halfway.
Meet them halfway?
Yeah.
That feels like the convivial thing to do, doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems amicable.
Yeah, we will turn to 25.
And Captain Cork is nothing if not amicable.
They hold their ground and ready their weapons. They shout at you, and through your translator you can hear they're telling you to remain where you are. You may obey them and wait for them to reach you, or continue. If you wish to continue, well, those are the options. Wait for them, or continue to walk towards them.
Let's wait for them.
Okay, that's 115. Through your translator you talk to them, explaining your mission. They are suspicious and hold you at bay with their weapons, but agree to take you to the village elder to talk. Turn to 170. As you enter the village area, other aliens shuffle towards you inquisitively. You're marched to a large hut in the centre of the clearing to meet the village elder. You enter this hut and see a large, somewhat wrinkled alien squatting in a far corner. After you've exchanged introductions, you begin to question him. Will you ask him about the planet and its inhabitants, Or do you believe this primitive race can be of little help in your mission, but ask anyway about their knowledge of astronomy?
That's a toughie. Let's ask about the astronomy.
Okay, that's 155. As you suspected, their knowledge of astronomy is virtually non-existent. You wind up your talk and signal the ship to beam you back on board. They're bewildered as you dematerialise in front of them. On board ship, you plan your next course. Turn to 203. So they're bewildered as well. There are a lot of people called bewildered in this. The navigation officer is Officer Bewildered, and now there are bewildered aliens as well. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Turn to 203.
It's like the book tried to warn me that they would know nothing about space, and yet I still poked it just to see.
You leave orbit and probe with your scanners for likely destinations. Some 3.3 light years away is a large red planet which you can head towards. Turn to 126. We're currently bouncing from location to location.
Yeah.
You switch to warp drive and head towards the red planet. As you reduce from warp speed, you approach a small grey planet. Will you investigate this, or will you continue towards your original destination?
That is a very good question. What do you think, Chris? Do we carry on, or do we abandon all hopes of the original planet and?
Yeah. So essentially, are we
different?
heading towards the red one, the one we saw, or stop off at the little grey one? I mean, small grey planet. Yeah, Leno thinks we should investigate small grey planet.
Go on then. Let's give the small grey planet a go. I'll add a little.
We could feel right at home there. Small grey planet sounds like a pretty decent description of the City of London, after all. Yeah, or the Isle of Thanet.
Small grey planet.
Small grey Thanet.
Yeah.
So we will investigate this. Turn to 261. The planet appears to have no life on it, but scanners detect some sort of activity. Perhaps the regular workings of a machine. You decide to investigate and send out a party in a recon plane to see what's happening. They pilot the plane to an area of the signal and land on the planet. It's rocky and barren, but not far from where they landed they find a scout ship of a type they've never come across. Will you tell them to investigate it further or return to your ship?
Well, we're here now, so let's investigate the scout ship.
And it does feel like that's got an actual door to open.
It certainly must.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't, it's going to be a quick investigation.
It's true, yeah. So investigate further, 176.
Oh, no. No idea how to map out.
They can find no signs of the pilot. Perhaps he's died or was killed in the crash. An automatic signal, probably a type of mayday call, is being transmitted by the ship's radio. There being nothing else to see on the planet, your crew return to the recon plane and fly back to the ship. Turn to 66.
Oh, what's that then?
Well, yeah, except it feels like maybe that mayday signal will be important later.
Yeah, potentially.
Landing the recon plane, the party make their way to the briefing room to report to you. As they relate their findings, you're interrupted suddenly with an urgent message. Captain, we've lost 3 of our engineering personnel who were involved with docking the recon plane. They're all dead. What would be your first command? Put the landing party into quarantine in the medical section, seal off the docking bay, or jettison the recon plane?
Seal off the docking bay.
Seal off the docking bay.
Yeah.
Turn to 18.
Sounds about right.
Quickly, the crew seal off the affected area, so as to prevent the spread of this unknown killer. No more deaths are reported. Turn to 337. I hope we eventually find out what that was. Using an EVA suit, your medical officer examines the body of one of the victims. She finds that the man has been poisoned. The planet below must have some sort of poisonous gas in its atmosphere, and this has now been carried back to the ship. Will you get the MO to search for an antidote and treat the crew, or evacuate the air from all the affected sections?
I mean, I feel like Captain Cork is the kind of skillful captain that would evacuate the air from all the shit, but that's not necessarily the best choice. Let's get the medical officer to come up with a solution.
Okay. Get the MO to search for an antidote. 223. Roll 2 dice for your medical officer. If the roll is equal to or lower than her skill score, turn to 129. If the roll exceeds her skill, turn to 46.
Do you want to do the honours, Ben?
Sure, this could be impactful. No, the medical doctor does not yet have a name. The only thing we know is apparently she's female.
Yes.
That's a 7, and her skill is 10. So, we get to turn to 129. Your MO comes up with a possible antidote and tries it out on herself, entering the affected area without an EVA suit. Watching her on a monitor screen, you see her enter the docking bay. Moments later, she falls to her knees. Her antidote has not been successful and you have lost your medical officer.
Oh. Good news, everybody.
Turn to 284. Good news.
So I'll just cross out medical officer from my sheet.
Okay. You give the instruction to evacuate all air from the affected area, and all crew within the area are instructed to wear EVA suits, as they will be in a vacuum. The air is pumped out into space, and half an hour later, fresh air is introduced. Your science officer checks this new air, and it is found to be poison-free. Turn to 11. Sorry, bit of poison gas in here. Right.
Yeah.
Now we have, of course, now a new medical assistant who we can promote, and the medical assistant gets 2 less skill than the previous medical officer, so that's 8.
Yep.
And gets to roll 2 dice plus 12 for their stamina.
Wonderful. Do you want to go for that one?
Sure, I'll do that.
Perfect. The medical officer was Dr. Jones Walker's. I think Mr. Lennon got in there quite quickly just after their demise. So the medical assistant is up for grabs if anyone wants to name them. It may be short-lived, but you know.
Okay. So that was 23, the stamina for our new medic.
Not that it will make any difference if they decide to start testing antidotes on themselves and walking into infected areas.
Right. Back on the bridge, you set your course. Ahead of you are 2 planets. You may head for either a large red planet, a blue planet, or a small, fast-moving spot, which shows signs of life. What do you fancy?
Let's go signs of life, I guess.
A small, fast-moving spot with signs of life. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
92.
Sounds at our speed.
You head out into space, with scanners probing ahead of you. A small, fast-moving dot comes within range. As you approach it, you identify it as another ship. You send out an all-frequency radio message, and soon an alien face appears on your screen. The face is brown, scaly, and somewhat reptilian, and introduces itself as Commander McMal of the Imperial Ganzig Confederation. Have you come across the Imperial Ganzig Confederation before? No, we have not. So we get to turn to 5. McMahal declares you are trespassing in Confederation territory and claims you as prisoner. He instructs you to follow his ship to a nearby starbase. If you accompany him, or you can accompany him or refuse to be captured.
Well. Any thoughts, anyone? I've got an idea. Feels like a time to make a stand. I think. Not going to have this. What was their name again?
McMahal of the Ganzig Confederation, I think it was.
This lizard-like McMahal. Tell good old Captain Cork where to fly his ship. Let's refuse to be captured.
Refuse to be captured. Turn to 143.
Yeah. I'm completely running out of what I'm doing with this. These used to be planets, and then I think at one point there were solar systems, and now it's just encounters along the way.
The Ganzigites warn you that refusal to comply with their orders will force them to open fire. You may either decide against a battle and let McMahal take you to his starbase, or order your crew to battle stations and attack.
This feels a little bit like that warning when I was questioning people that would know nothing about astronomy, and I did it anyway.
Well, it says the alien ship has a weapon strength 8 and shields 12. But truthfully, I don't know if that's good or bad. In fact, I don't even know what our weapon strength and shields are. Is that something I'm supposed to know? Yes, apparently it is. Hang on a second. We didn't roll for that.
I would imagine at some point.
1 second. Your ship. Okay, it's the same approach as for the skill and stamina. So it's 1d6 plus 6 and 2d6 plus 12.
I see.
So we should roll that now. You want to do that?
Yeah, sure. Let me just write up some stats for the USS exit price. 1d6 plus 6.
Yep.
Oh, it's a 5 plus 6. It's pretty good.
11. Excellent.
Is that our what are the two stats again? Is it skill and stamina?
It's actually
Or
called...
the equivalent of something
effectively, yes, but it's called weapon strength.
Yeah.
Weapons and shields, basically.
Weapons and shields. That makes perfect sense. And that's an 8 plus 12 on the
20.
shields. Which seems pretty good. Although I now want to see a sci-fi where their weapons is called they're referred to as their skill, and their shields or the hull integrity is referred to as the ship's stamina.
Yes.
I'd quite enjoy that, I think.
Yeah, good point. So now we know that the alien ship has weapons 8 and shields 12. I think we could take them on.
I think we could take them on. Let's go with the initial thought and take them on.
Okay.
Beat to quarters, men.
341 is apparently ship combat rules.
I didn't know there'd be more rules involved.
It looks like they are exactly the same. Okay, except this time, well, it's actually quite different, sorry. Ships attack each other in turn. We attack first.
Yeah.
And then we have to roll under our weapon strength, or equal.
Oh.
Sorry, no, under weapon strength, in order to score a hit. Then to determine how much damage, you roll 2 dice again and compare the total with the alien ship's shield score. If it is equal to or lower than the shield score, the shot does 2. If it's higher than the shield score, the shot does 4. And if it's a double 6, we ignore the shield score and it automatically does 6.
Oof.
Okay.
And then the same the other way, I assume.
Yes. Essentially, it's exactly the same. Okay, so we begin with I can now see why they broke up the rules into the book, because there are additional rules. There are also apparently separate rules for ranged combat as opposed to melee.
Oh.
So excellent. Okay, so we get to go first. So I feel you should roll for our ship.
2d6. Under our weapons.
Yep, and you got to roll under.
That's pretty good. That's a 7, which is under.
That's
11.
under.
Last time
Okay.
I checked.
Now you get to roll 2 dice again to determine how much damage you do.
Okie dokie. That's 9 on the dice.
9 on the dice. Their shield score is currently 12. So it does 2 points of damage and their shields are reduced to 10. Excellent. Then they get a go. And that's a 4 misses. Hang on a second, is that right? Equal to or higher? No. No, it's lower. It's a hit. Sorry.
Under your weapons.
A 4 hits.
Or
Okay.
their weapons, so I should say.
And damage is 6 is 2 points of damage. So we lose 2 of our shields.
Yeah. I'll go to 18.
Okay. Then
Back to the top.
back to the top.
Ooh, that's an 11, which is just equal to our weapons of 11.
Which means we miss, I'm afraid.
Oh, was
Equal
it?
is a miss. Okay.
What? We're definitely not winning anymore, Mr. Lello.
Nope, they've just rolled a 5, which is a hit.
Yeah.
And that's another 2.
We're quickly down to 16.
Ooh.
16 shields.
Okay.
Right, don't roll as good dice. We'll do, but not as high. That's a 7.
Okay, that sounds better.
Which is much better. And then 2 more d6. Ooh. That's a double 1.
Double 1. That's 2 points off them. Okay. So they are down to 8.
Cool.
And they attack with a 5. That's a hit. And a 7. Which is equal to or lower than the shield score, isn't it? So that's 2 more points off.
2 more points. Oof. 14. Not looking good. That's a 3 on the weapons though, which is pretty good. So that hits.
Excellent.
And the damage is a 9.
That does 4 points of damage. So they are now down to a mere 4 left.
That escalates pretty quickly, I feel.
Yeah. They have rolled a 4, which is a hit. And a 6, which is another 2.
Mark that down. And a 5 on the weapons, which is under our 11.
That's brilliant.
And a 4 on the dice.
A 4 on the dice. Equal to or higher? No, equal to or lower. So it's 2 points. They're down to 2.
Oh, so close.
And that's a 9, which is a miss. Finally, they've missed.
Ooh, that's bad timing. That's a double 6.
Oh, you needed that next time.
Yeah, I needed, anything, pretty much anything but that, or a 5 and a 6.
To be fair, though, they've just rolled an 11, so that evens out.
Yeah, that's true. Funny how dice do that over time.
Yeah.
Let's try again. That's a 9, which is under 11.
That's very handy, and it's good enough.
It's irrelevant.
Yes, that's true. It is. No, it's not actually irrelevant, because 0 is not enough. You'll see what I mean in a second. What did you roll for damage?
I rolled an 11 then in that case.
An 11 for damage. That does double damage, which is 4 points. Now that matters because in the ship rules, when your shields are reduced to 0, you're not dead.
What was that?
You die on the very next point of damage you take. So if it had only been 2, they'd still be alive to take another shot, basically.
Yeah. Cool. Because their shields are gone, so they need a hit after shields.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Apparently, you can repair the damage to your shields at a starport if one will let you. But obviously, we're not there yet. So, if you defeat the Ganzagites, which we did, we turn to 185.
You know,
And I am wondering if that, after that titanic combat, may be the moment to take a brief break.
yeah, that feels about right. We'll rest up, relieve, repair some of the ship, relieve some of the crew who, fought valiantly and are a bit injured. We'll send them off to medical. Let Captain Cork have a little bit of downtime. And be back
Excellent.
in about 5 minutes. Give or take.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like like a sort of good moment for just a brief break. Yes.
Yeah, cool.
So what we will do is exactly that. We will take a brief break for just 5 minutes or so, and we will resume with our comfort re-established to take on the next part of this. So please stay with us if you can. And welcome back. We have just inflicted torpedo death on some Ganzigites, and we are floating in space looking for our next adventure. So, you now have two choices. A large grey planet is some 2.7 light years away, or you may approach a small planet a short distance ahead at sublight speed.
Ooh. This feels a very out there choice. Let's go small planet, sublight.
Small planet,
Speed.
sublight.
Yeah, we're just taking some heavy damage. So.
We have, yeah, that's 89.
Wonderful. Obviously, my map is wonderful and to scale, so I'm going to make it a smaller rectangle.
Of course.
A smaller rectangular planet.
You
obviously.
take up orbit position around a small planet, circling a large red star. Scanners indicate the planet is probably devoid of life. The surface is hot and volcanic. Will you beam down to explore or leave?
Again, this feels like the kind of thing where we just beam down.
Yeah.
It's a door, isn't it? It's a...
Got to try it.
metaphorical
145.
door.
You may choose 2 crew members from the adventure sheet to accompany you and head for the transmatter unit. You leave the ship and reappear on the surface of the planet. The heat is tremendous and the cooling systems within your EVA suits must work at maximum. The surface of the planet is volcanic and small eruptions in the ground around you spray out molten lava. Will you scan for signs of life, look more closely at an erupting volcano, or return to the ship? And we need to decide who's with us.
Yeah, well, that feels like first things first. Who do we think will be useful on a planet with exploding volcanoes? That Sock Fiddler thinks we should definitely peer into.
Okay.
I mean, you'd imagine the science officer.
Geraldo,
Quite handy.
yep.
Good old Geraldo. Although I feel as though we've taken Geraldo out quite a lot. Where's Mr. Spook? Sock Fiddler? What is his position on the ship? Captain Cork doesn't know everyone's names. He's not that kind of captain.
No.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. Let's say we'll take the engineer.
Okay. Science officer and engineering officer.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Why not? Why not?
The so far unnamed engineering officer.
Yes. Security guard number, the good guard, security, engineer, and the medical assistant who got a field promotion to the medical officer are yet unnamed.
They are. So, we're going to peer into a volcano, are we?
So Paddy is coming with us. That feels like.
Paddy is the engineer,
Yes.
is he? Right. Okay.
I will add that. Add that to the sheet. So far unnamed is the security, the good guard, and the medical assistant.
Okay. So we're going to peer into the volcano. That's 159.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Specifically, we're going to send the guard to peer into the engineering officer to peer into the volcano because he's useless for anything else. And in case it erupts at that exact moment.
Yeah, exactly. Did you say 159, Ben?
159, yeah.
Glorious. I'll obviously put that right at the top of the volcano.
Your party approaches the rim of a large crater. Looking cautiously over the edge, you peer down into a pool of molten rock. The heat is unbearable. Suddenly the ground behind you ruptures and the rock under your feet crumbles, causing you all to lose your balance. Roll 2 dice for each of you in turn, and compare the total rolled with your skill scores. If any of you roll a number higher than your skill score, the disturbance causes that crew member to fall forwards over the rim to his death.
Well, that escalated quickly.
If you die in this way, the adventure is over. If you do not die, you decide to beam back to the ship with any of the crew who have survived. Okay.
Well then.
So
let's save Cork till last.
Let's save Cork till last, absolutely. So we have our science officer, don't we? Geraldo, the science officer. He's got to roll 10 or less. And he's rolled a 7. He's fine.
Good stuff. Engineer Paddy. But first, we've got some more names from chat. Security is Blorf.
Security is Blor.
Yeah, and medical assistant is HCA Snippy CPOR. You might have to explain that, Socks. I think that went over my head at this time on a Friday night. But it's in chat. And
it is.
And I like it.
I have no idea what that means. I'm going to go with Snippy.
Yeah, definitely. I feel as
Okay.
though we may have missed an in-joke. Right, apologies. Engineering. Paddy.
Engineering has a skill of 11.
Yeah. Do you want to do this one?
And he's comfortably safe. Yep, with an 8.
That's
Now
good to
remember, Cork has a +1 to his skill rolls.
hear. Yes, or his skill is 8 now, isn't it?
That's right.
Opposed to 7. So the odds are just about in his favour?
Just about.
I mean...
Oh, no!
I don't know what to say. It's a glorious death, to be fair.
It was a glorious death.
If Captain Cork was ever going to die, it was going to be falling into a volcano, realistically.
Yes. And
just after we've named the rest of the crew as well.
And I do feel quite strongly, truthfully, that with his absence, the rest of the ship's crew have a far higher chance of making it home safely.
Yes, the survival rate has just gone up.
Yes. So let's quickly review the scores on the doors for our playthroughs of the Fighting Fantasy books.
Do we have to?
I feel we should. So, Book 1, Warlock of Firetop Mountain. We made it all the way through to the end and failed to achieve our objectives. We lived, but didn't succeed. It was a failure, but, okay.
Yeah.
Book 2, we died horribly in the Citadel of Chaos.
Yes, we fell. Was that the falling?
Yes.
Yeah, and we had nothing to save us from the traumatic fall.
An absolute catastrophic failure.
Indeed.
Book 3, Forest of Doom, is sort of halfway in between. It was an absolute catastrophic failure and we definitely died. But it was really just an almost one-off roll thing, wasn't it, as to whether or not we died. Depending
we made it to the end.
We made it to the end and then went back to the beginning and died on our trip around the edge of Forest of Doom.
Yes.
So, survived but failed, died, and died. are the first three. And then we have just done book number 4. And technically, we're not all dead. But, we, the captain, Cork himself, sadly died. And that is where our journey comes to an end. Which is abrupt. I love your little graphic, by the way, of volcano death.
Thanks. I was going to draw the volcano anyway, but it feels as though it definitely needs, something to immortalise the volcano, if not Captain Cork.
Yeah. So, we have done 4 of these books. We failed all of them and died in 3 of them.
Yes. I feel we need some sort of CLD that's, a outright win, complete everything that you want to go out for. A didn't die but didn't quite, set out, achieve all the goals that you set out to achieve, and died horribly in probably what is a very quick and out of the blue fashion, I think.
Yeah.
That's sort of what we've gone with so far, anyway.
Yes. This one we didn't get to the end like Forest of Doom. Forest of Doom, we kind of died on the trip home almost.
Yeah. On the restart.
Yeah. So we sort of made it to the end twice with Warlock and with Forest of Doom. Yes, Mr. Leno, what happened basically was we peered in the volcano and the ground gave way and we needed to make skill rolls to determine whether or not we survived. And everybody survived, apart from us, it turns out.
Apart from Captain Cork.
Yeah. Yes. So it's not actually Sock's fault, because I'd have been tempted to peer in the volcano as well.
Me too.
It's not
Definitely.
really Sock's fault, but I'm happy to lay blame there if it makes people more comfortable.
Yes. I know. If only the captain hadn't rolled a 1 on their. I suppose perhaps I'm being harsh on the game, because I was thinking, it's just killed us off on 1 dice roll, but actually it's kind of 2 dice rolls, isn't it? Your initial stats and your.
Yes. Yeah, if
your follow up.
If the captain had a 6 initially, or even a 5 actually, he would have been unkillable by that method, because that would have become a 12, and you couldn't have rolled over that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yes. However, kudos to Steve Jackson. That was an interesting twist on the Fighting Fantasy game book, given that it wasn't actually any fantasy at all.
No, I very much enjoyed that. That's good.
That was an interesting idea and well worth trying. So thank you. And that was enormous fun. We do have a few more of these, so we will be lining them up periodically when the moment strikes. And before we sign off, therefore, I feel we should do another quick plug for tomorrow night, because tomorrow night we are being joined on stream by Sparrow, and we're going to have a go at a game that I have written, or an RPG that I have written, which is completely experimental in a number of different areas. I'm not sure. I could well be wrong about this. I'm far from an expert, but I don't know if anyone's ever done a game quite like this before. So it's completely new rules, completely new scenario, and a different approach. So I don't know if it'll work well. And if it doesn't, obviously you have my humble apologies, but I think it's worth trying, worth experimenting. So this, if nothing else, having a channel like this gives us a chance to experiment with some stuff.
Definitely.
So we're going to try that tomorrow night, 11 o'clock UK time. And for those people who have been missing Luke, obviously Ewan and I have not been missing Luke at all. But for those who have, for those who do miss his smiling, happy face, he will be back, not tomorrow for the telegram, but with any luck, he'll be back for Spooky Sunday on Sunday evening. Hopefully at his usual time of about 11:45 UK time. And Spooky Sunday at the moment is Deliver Us the Moon, which I'm thoroughly enjoying, actually. I think it's a really interesting narrative. So if you're interested in that, that's when it'll be. But for tonight, thank you everybody for coming along and joining and making chat so much fun and joining in. Thank you, Ewan. That was enormous fun.
Thank you. Sorry to end it abruptly in one swift roll after our break.
The reality is the dice spoke.
That is, yeah. Indeed. That is how it has gone. In fact, all three of the times we've died have just been very, they've felt very abrupt. One of them, yes, we had reached the end and we were restarting, but again, it was just a sort of, you failed a roll, you're dead.
Yeah.
We've yet to die in combat, though, which I feel is...
That's a good point. We've yet to die in actual straight combat. We plummeted to our death in Citadel of Chaos. I mean, I'm pretty sure the word plummet is not used except in a bad way, is it?
No, I can't think of...
Nobody ever says they plummeted into happiness.
Unless you're making a crumble and somebody says, oh, apple crumble, and no, somebody else says, oh, no, plummet. Maybe. But no, I don't think it is, to be fair.
But yes, we have... We haven't yet died in an actual straight fight.
No, which is good. Maybe. Don't know if that makes me feel better or worse, but yeah, it's definitely a thing.
And it's certainly been interesting to play through these games from the 80s because they do have a little style all their own, and we do have some more to go through.
And they've been really varied, to be fair. I think the style in which they approach the genre has been really different each time.
Yes,
I certainly felt it.
Yes, I think the next one City of Thieves or something like that. So that might be a different style again. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We shall continue. And we shall aim to complete maybe one of them one day.
Yes. There's always a chance.
We will see.
We will certainly give it a shot because they are quite fun to play through, and they're actually, I mean, to me they're quite interesting because they're sort of a little bit of the old school history of gaming. They're a style of thing that was extremely popular for a while and now has slipped into disuse. But also, these guys were experienced game producers, and they turned out some quite interesting stuff, you know. And I like the cover art, which depicts what appears to be like an arena fight against some kind of robot, which we never got to experience because we died of clumsiness on a volcano. But
yes,
but there may actually be a robot arena fight in there. I don't know. Yes. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you hopefully tomorrow night for the Telegram, and maybe on Sunday night for Luke's triumphant return. And
Spooky Sunday.
And that will wrap up this weekend's offering. So thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thank you.
And good night.
Good night.